My pastor's son off his wife story time part 2. My pastor had 4 sons. 2 were in the choir. 1 was the drum player for the church, and 1 son did not come to church. And this son that I'm talking about is the one that did not come to church. And the 2 sons in the choir were gay. The son that was playing the drum was battling addictions with alcohol, drugs, and he was cheating on his wife. So where do you think the problems came from? The pastor. But let these Christians tell it, they can't do no wrong. The woman had 3 daughters. They all were members of the choir. They could sing so beautifully. Like, they were literally known for their voices. And they weren't triplets, but they were close in age and they looked alike. And because they had the same mom, people just assumed that they were triplets. So we used to call them the triplet singers. Now, he met this woman online, and that is how they started dating. So fast forward to when they get ready to take a vacation, they go out of town, and this is where everything goes loose. The 3 triplet singers had been trying to contact their mom, and they were getting no response. So when they were reaching out to him, he would always have an excuse. So the first time, it went from, oh, she's in the shower. Second time, oh, she's asleep. It also was getting suspicious because they were supposed to be returned back from the vacation, and they did not. They end up staying like 2 weeks over at this point. Who stays on vacation for a month? And they were not getting married. This was not a honeymoon. Anyways, they called the next time. He would say like, oh, she's out at the store. Then they called again. It still was another excuse. Every time they called to check on their mom, she just was not available to come to the phone. So they kept letting it slide until it gets to like month 2. When it gets to month 2 and no one has heard from her at all, that is when they decide to take further initiative. Now, before y'all get to saying why they wait so long, number 1, police don't do a damn thing anymore. They never did. If they're not taking you to jail, they're not here to do anything else. Number 2, they did contact the police when it was going over into week 2. However, the police stated that it was a new relationship. And when they were telling the police what the guy was telling them, the police didn't feel like there was no wrong within the story. So the police felt like, oh, maybe she's just not available to come to the phone and they just want to have time alone. Now we're getting to the point to where somebody is trying to find out what they are. So they end up going to the actual location of the vacation and they find nobody there. So where they told them that they were going, that's not where they ended up. Now it was unsure or unknown if he had tricked the woman and took her somewhere else, or if all along they knew they were not going to the place they had told everybody else that they were going. When they went to the hotels, the hotel clerk said these people never checked in. They never seen these people. They ran cameras. There was no record of credit card or debit card information on file. Now, they done looked everywhere for them. By this point, the son is no longer available either. So he's not returning any phone calls. He's not answering any texts. So his motive now was to make it look like they both vanished. And the pastor all led church, leaving prayers, having everybody stay after church to hold hands, to, see if anybody knows anything. The police was trying to track phone records. Nothing. The police weren't trying to do a damn thing. They was just lying and saying they was investigating, and they don't never investigate shit down there. I don't know if the police do stuff where y'all from, but all the places I've been, the police ain't came and did shit but put you in cuffs. And that's not even their real job. Their job is to protect you and serve you justice. That's the oath that they took. It nowhere near says in their oath to arrest or to take to jail. Nowhere near says that. The police originated from capturing black people who had power. They sent white men to go out on the street and patrol the black people. Take them, detain them of their power, feed them low vibrational food, make them unhealthy, make them toxic. Anyways, back to the pastor. So it was approaching Easter and we was going to have an Easter service at church this upcoming Sunday. So there was going to be food afterwards. Now, some of the people who cook the food sometimes meet up with my pastor and they bring things to the church together. Now, one of the ladies who used to cook the macaroni, I don't eat baked macaroni, so I barely saw her, but I do remember she sat on the side, if where the deacons, and then the front row in the church most of the time be people who are members or older people who have been going to the church for a long time. So she sat in that crowd right there. So she was very familiar with my pastor, and I'm sure she went to his house a few times. So this particular time, they just agreed for her to go. Nobody else needed to go, just them two. So he was like, he gonna grab what he can put in his car. She can grab what she needs to put the rest in her car, and they're gonna bring everything back to the church for the second service. Y'all hear that plane coming over? But she said when she went to his house, her whole demeanor had changed because the house just lit up. Like the house had a scent that was just like unbearable, to the point that she didn't even know how the food wasn't molded or rotten. The food looked fresh for the house to smell how it smelled. And she also said like the house was clean. It didn't look like that scent should have been coming up out of there. The way my pastor house was, it's like a lot of land, and then his house is like in the back, and his house is kind of like flipped. So the front door, when you first pull up and see the house, you're not actually looking at the front of the house, you're looking at the back of the house that was added on. So he already has a house, and then he has a part that's added on to the back. But when you pulling up, it looks like that's like the front door of the house basically. But when you drive around, you're able to actually see that you are now in the front of the house. So that's where she had drove her car at to pull up to get the stuff. But she noticed that the smell was coming from the other side. So the side that I told you when you first pull up looks like the front. If you go to his house, you automatically know what side to drive to. So no one was going to that back side. But she could tell that the smell was coming from that part of the house, and it just had lingered on through the other house. Now this is where the shit gets juicy. So the woman who's there, she ends up just noting it and saving it for later. But she has a sister who is a sheriff. So she ends up calling her sister and letting her know that she just smelled something that just seemed like it should be checked out. Because when she asked the pastor, you know, what was the smell, and he was just like, it was an old smell from a while back. He never even like was clear on where the smell originally came from. He just said it was something that just took him a minute to get the smell out of the house. But she was saying it smelled like something that was still current and had been there for a little while, but over the time the smell was just getting worse. So she told her sister, and the sister was just like, you know, legally she needs enough to be able to like go there and try to like talk to him, because there was nothing illegally that he had done, like no crime had been committed, and she didn't like want to overstep. But then shit took a turn. The police had got an anonymous call. Still to this day, no one revealed who the call was. They say it was a neighbor, but like I told y'all, my pastor had like a good bit of grass before you got to his actual house. Like neighbors were on the other side. Not saying that they can't see, but just saying like you're gonna have to really pay attention and watch him for a long time. So one of the neighbors had called in and said that they saw some people lifting some things, and like it fell off the back of the truck. So like imagine like a little black truck and a little part in the back that you can like, it lets up or you can like lay it down. So like that part right there, they had laid down and the item like fell off. So basically the people were like, they caught that part in the act. So they parked on the back side. Remember I told y'all the side that they don't go in, that's an additional house, because you get through that side through his front. He has it added on, and it's so weird because the way you get to that other house from the original house is you have to go through his room door closet. Like I thought it was weird, but at the same time I kind of thought it was cool. Like you have to go through his room, and then you have to go through his closet, and in his closet it's a door that will open that takes you through that other side of the house. And that's the only way you can get there from the inside of the house. Keep that in mind. And so the person reported it and said that they think that it looked like a body, or it just looked like they was doing something that they didn't have no business doing, because like it was dark and they had like a little light. Like it wasn't like a bit light like they were trying to see something. It looked like a light like bright enough just for them to see, and they did not want to cause like a lot of distractions or a lot of attention. Because like if you're trying to see something and it's pitch black dark, you're probably going to want the biggest light you can find. And a phone light is pretty bright. She said they wasn't even using that. They was using like a light on a pen. So with that, the sheriff had enough to go to the house. Once they encountered the smell, so they end up leaving, coming back another day, because they knew they was going to need a search warrant. He was not even letting them in the front house. Like when they arrived, he was just talking to them in the back, and he was like, you know, you don't have any reason to come in. Like he was being respectful and kind, but he was just still telling them, no, you can't enter. But they still smelled the smell. So they went and got a search warrant, and they show back up, and y'all, they find that missing woman's body chopped up into pieces in a freezer in that back of the home. Go to my page for part 2.